Good morning. This is Dylan Jovine Behind the Markets. Happy Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, November 18th. And I'll tell you something. Today is Mickey Mouse's birthday. Believe it or not, he was basically born in November 18th, 1928. Do you remember those old Mickey Mouse cartoons? They're black and white, and he's like this. I've had my kids watch that. I've had my kids watch the old Popeye. Popeye was a big one for me when I was growing up. Bugs Bunny, all the Warner Brothers things. And of course, the Little Rascals. It doesn't really resonate as much today as it did back then. But boy, oh boy, we go on these little kicks. And of course, everybody in my family has to know the Twilight Zone because that's just the way we are. Anyway, today I'd like to talk to you about Buffett went out, and this has been kind of a big story all weekend. Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway bought about $5 billion of Alphabet stock. You've seen all these stories written, and we know that Buffett is getting out of the business. He's retiring at the end of the year, which is very bittersweet. The greatest mentor of my life that I did not meet, learned a lot from him. But when you look at some of the things he did, the last kind of, him doing this, really, if you look at some of the things he did, he bought Alphabet shares. We also recommended in the third quarter, he bought this stock in the third quarter, right around the price we recommended it at $200 a share or thereabouts. And we recommended it because once the Justice Department thing was settled, they weren't forced to break up. Actually, had they been forced to break up, usually history shows that the two components or three components of the companies that get broken up, a company gets broken up, the stock goes much higher and it actually unlocks a whole lot of value. But they were not forced to break up. And wisely, I think the judge saw that they have so much competition coming that they do not have a forever monopoly. It's not a utility where you basically have your electric company. This is a company that is in an incredibly competitive space. And now OpenAI has launched their Atlas browser. They are getting attacked from all sides. But we recommended it because the darn thing was trading at 16 times earnings. Google trading at 16 times earnings. Basically a dominant super competitor trading at 16 times earnings with returns on capital at about 30% a year. And what you find out in business and investing is the return on equity, a company's return on capital, a return on equity, will approximate their PE ratio over time. So if you see a company that earns a return on equity of 30%, meaning that for every $1,000 it invests in its business, it gets about $300 back, 30% return on equity. What will happen is the PE ratio will approximate that over time. You tend to see a 30 PE. And you have to compare that with the fact that the average company in America has a 12% return on capital, meaning that for every $1,000 they invest in their business every day, every year, every month, they get about $120 back. So companies that are exceptional get a 30, 40% return on capital. Anything above 20, 25% is great. So when you see a company, you can take this, live by this rule. It's a great general rule for you. When you see a company, look at a company's return on invested capital, return on investment, ROI, and look to see anything above 30. If the PE doesn't match that, that often means it's a great buying opportunity. And we used that when we recommended Microsoft, Nike, Boeing, over time, and a bunch of other things. It's one of the key playbook things that I learned actually from Buffett. Speak of the man himself, I actually learned that from Buffett. He never comes out and says that specifically, but it is one of the great lessons that you infer from reading all his stuff and many other things that I've studied in this game. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. Have a wonderful day. Speak to you tomorrow.